Okay, welcome back to Rocky Mountain Prepper. Today I am beginning the process of making soap. First thing you have to do is make your lye solution. In this case it's going to be potassium hydroxide, not sodium hydroxide, because I do not want to mess around with electrolysis, and I want to show you primitive means so that you know how to make things in case the grid does not exist anymore. It's simply hardwood ash. In this case I got it from my charcoal grill. And now I am adding 2 gallons of water to the ash, and we have to let it sit for at least 24 hours. That way the water will leach out all the potassium, and it will become potassium hydroxide. Then we'll have to boil it down to the correct consistency. You can stir this, but it's not really that necessary. If you do decide to stir it, make sure to use just a wooden stick or stainless steel. You do not want to use aluminum or anything that can react to the caustic chemicals. I will bring you back when it's sat for a while so you can see the effects. And shortly after that I'll bring you back to show boiling it down, to show the correct consistency. We're back. The wood ashes have soaked for 3 days, and now I'm just pouring the liquid through a shirt to filter out the big chunks, and all of the stuff that's left will not be wasted because there's lots of good minerals for the garden. It'll all go up into the garden, whatever's left. So after this is done being poured off and filtered, I will bring you back and show you how to concentrate it, to get it down to the right concentration / consistency. See you in a few. Alright, I have it here on the stove. I have all the windows open, fans running, and one window forgot, there. And I have the hood vent on, because as this boils, it does give off some bad smells that can make you cough. You can see how the water looks. That is right now potassium hydroxide. But we are processing it, we are boiling it down now so that so that it has the correct concentration in order to produce the best soap. Alright, when we get it down to the right consistency, we'll come back and you can see it then. Alright, we have it at a roaring boil now, and it's going to be having to boil like this for quite a while, but I'm going to run this through, let this cool for a bit, and run it through a filter, being my handkerchief in a colander, to collect it into the bowl, into a glass bowl, so that we can have some of the particles precipitate out. Already a lot of fine ash particles were still in there, and they actually started to separate. And if I pour it carefully, it'll actually, I'll be able to leave a lot on the bottom. So I'll come back and let you see what it looks like after that, and we'll even test it with an egg after I get it filtered. Alright, it's cooled down a bit enough to filter this out some more, and I am pouring it slowly so it doesn't crack the glass bowl that's underneath. You have to be very careful because this stuff will burn you. If you've ever seen Fight Club, yeah. If not, before you make soap, you probably should. That's a good public service announcement there. But you can see the color is excellent for what we're doing. But you'd never go just off of the color because it's not an indicator of how concentrated it is. You can see all that ash that just poured out? Yeah, we're getting that out now. Alright, I'm going to carefully lift this out so we get as little of the ash back in. A little bit, it's not going to hurt. Now, once this is at the right consistency, you can use it as a drain cleaner or a few other things. Now, to test the consistency, because I don't want to risk burning through these cheap medical gloves, I'm using tongs. But you put an egg in. See how it doesn't float at all? This means it is not ready at all. It's not close. It'll be floating when it's ready. Set that off to the side. And I will come back when this is boiled down to the right consistency. Alright. I boiled it down for it's boiled for about 30 minutes, and this is how dark it looks. And I'm going to pour it into a cup and get an egg and show you the float, so you know what the float test looks like. Now, this is more than enough to do quite a few batches of soap. Alright, let's get an egg out. Just a regular chicken egg. You can also use a potato. I prefer an egg. Now, see how far up it floats? That is where you want it. You can go farther and make it more concentrated, but that's about where you need it. Alright, I will show you when it's time to, when I'm starting to melt when I'm getting the tallow ready in order to make the soap. Okay, we now have our fat up to 190. It's 2 cups. That is a little on the high side, but it's better than being too low. And as you can see, I transferred all the homemade lye water into a jar. It's safe in the jar. I did hold back 2/3 of a cup. And if you're going to do this, you need to use glass, stainless steel, or wood, because they will not react. I did add a heavy pinch of salt to the oil. That'll help with the hardening later. And as you can see, it's already starting to make soap. Now we just got to keep it stirring. You can switch over to a hand mixer or a beater if you want to do this more like they traditionally did it, because that'll help it to come together quicker. But you can get away with using a spatula. If you want to do it with modern tools, a stick blender will make this go. You'll have this done in a matter of 15 to 30 minutes. Alright, you got to stir this until it comes to what is known as trace. And that's basically like when you're making pudding, you draw it like that, and it'll pretty much stay. Well, not stay, but it'll try to stay in place. You'll have a trace of this go. I'll show you when it's done, when it's there. Alright, I'll bring you back when it's time. Okay. After about 20 minutes with the egg beater, hand mixer, whatever you want to call it, whatever your grandma taught you it's called, this is trace. See how it goes off like that? How it stays? That's what you need. Now, the next step is put down a thick towel or a blanket. I'm going to use my white mold. You can use any kind of mold you want. I like the loaf mold. And you just scoop it in, getting it all in there. It's already setting up. Now this will lighten up a bit as it cures over time. Okay, I'm just being a little anal about it. Okay. Now, I like to put a piece of parchment paper over it to keep the towel from falling in. This is so it doesn't cool too fast, because then your soap could crack. Okay. I'll bring you back when I take it out of the mold. Alright. As you can see, it's set up nicely. It's only been 3 hours. You can slide it out of the mold. And now, I will just start cutting it and putting it on the rack. So it'll continue to dry. Now this will actually turn a lot lighter as it dries, as the moisture dries out of it. Just put it on a rack, set it somewhere to air dry for a few weeks. Then you will have soap to wash your clothes or wash your body. I hope you found this informative. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as usual, Good luck and God bless.